It is still a blur to me, but when they gave the launch a go, all 5 of us in the capsule, well, we were, every time I look at this picture, guys, I can't believe that I'm sitting there in seat number 5. We shared something truly very special.
A lot of people are saying they can't believe it. And look at the shape of that. That rocket is shaped like a... that rocket is shaped like an Austin Powers rocket or something.
We shared something truly very special, including the weightlessness. You know, you can't rehearse weightlessness. You can't practice that. They tell you what it's going to be like, but it really is like nothing else.
Did these ladies really go to space? 4 days ago, an all-female crew went to the outer limits of our planet with Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin space tourism rocket, I guess. When you're a billionaire, you do what you want, I guess. You do what you want. He sent his wife. He sent Katy Perry, Gayle King, Aisha Bowe, and Lauren Sanchez and Amanda Nguyen. They did an 11-minute, $28 million per person flight joyride to the outer edges of Earth's atmosphere. That's what people are questioning right now. It just seemed odd that this happened all of a sudden, and now Gayle King's going into space. It didn't seem like it was well orchestrated or planned. It seemed like PR, and now a lot of people are saying it may be fake.
Singer Katy Perry and journalist Gayle King made history as part of an all-woman crew launched into space on Monday. The 10-minute flight took off in perfect weather and soared to more than 340,000 feet. The rocket was built by Blue Origin, the company owned by Amazon billionaire Jeff Bezos.
Hey, that is a strangely shaped rocket. I'm just going to say. I'm not going to say what it looks like here. For the first all-woman crew to be going up in that type of rocket.
Bezos' fiancée, Lauren Sanchez, was one of the other women aboard, along with 2 scientists and a film producer. They were the first all-woman crew to ever launch into space from U.S. soil. Blue Origin has been taking celebrities, scientists, and other civilians to the edge of space since 2021.
Okay, so they have a little experience in this, you know, about 4 years experience. Yeah, it was full of those cringe one-liners. Gotta have a film producer. Who else can afford $28 million? So they're getting a lot of backlash because a lot of people are saying, you weren't the first of anything, really. You weren't the first women in space. Of course, we had real astronauts like Sally Ride and Mae Jemison. They had many other female astronauts, real astronauts who actually trained and were scientists. And there really was no type of control over the orbit that they were in. It didn't seem. I don't know if they were remotely controlled from the ground or they were just there and they can make their descent, but it didn't seem like there was any like steering wheel, for lack of a better term. So yes, these women, it appears, went to space, but such public figures and the timing of this is leading people to think it was fake. It was staged. There's been some other things in space that we thought were staged as well. Shout out to Stanley Kubrick. So some people believe that there are several telltale signs that can clearly prove that this space flight was staged. Of course, they're calling them conspiracy theorists.
1, 2, 3, take us space! That's our pink moon.
Oh, what happened there? They said Gayle's hand disappears.
That's our pink moon.
Upside
it's
down.
It's a very soft landing despite the sporty perception. There it is.
That does not look like a soft landing.
Perception. There it is.
In fact, that might be one of the issues. I don't know if that's very convincing.
There it is.
Looked like that thing would have exploded hitting the ground that hard. And they are screaming on touchdown. What is that, the Kardashians? Oh yeah, the Kardashians are got to be in attendance in some way, shape, or form.
Congratulations and welcome back.
Taking up space. They're definitely taking up space on spacecrafts that could be used for trained professionals, you know. But it says, ever since Katy Perry and Gayle King took their 11-minute trip to the edge of space, the internet has been ablaze with wild theories. Here's one of them. It says something is definitely wrong with the Blue Origin space flight. From MJ Truth Ultra, the name isn't concerning, I guess. Something is definitely wrong with the Blue Origin space flight that Katy Perry was on. Social media users are asking, where are the re-entry burn marks and why does it look like a fake hand? LOL, this world is so crazy. And then it shows a picture of what seems to be a brown plastic looking hand. Like maybe they shot some dummies up there or something. I don't know. Conspiracy theory. It's all alleged, obviously. It's all alleged. Don't sue Jeff Bezos. And it does seem like a very simplistic design for what it is supposed to do. I'm telling you, that does not look thick enough to really handle any type of pressure from space, I would think. Yeah, social media users have leapt to the lack of lift in Katy Perry's hair as a sign that the Blue Origin mission to space was faked. Possibly. Could also be some hair products in there. No telling. Too heavy hairspray. It says, watch their hair, then look at Sumi's while in space. This is all fake. Mocking the fake space girls isn't going away or ending anytime soon. This is how a woman's hair looks in space, for real. But she was definitely on the space station, I'm believing, which is a little further out. So maybe. And there was a lot of backlash after these ladies arrived. It says Katy Perry can't sell tickets. Gayle King's under a microscope after Blue Origin backlash. Oh yeah, that Gayle King clip was terrible.
I just have to have a moment with the ground. Let me just appreciate the ground for just a second. Thank you. Oh my God. That was amazing. It was amazing. I don't like that people are calling it a ride. A ride, you know, you never see a male astronaut who's going up in space and they said, oh, he took a ride. We actually duplicated the route that Alan Shepard did. That's why it's called, this particular capsule is called the New Shepard. We duplicated that route. No one said he took that ride.
But he did that years and years ago.
Yeah. It's always referred to as a flight or a journey. So I feel that that's a little disrespectful to what the mission was and what the work that Blue Origin does.
The disrespect is crazy, right? She feels disrespected.
We use space technology all the time, whether it's your GPS, whether it's your satellite. That doesn't just happen. Every time a flight goes up, they get some type of information. Two of the astronauts, I still have a hard time calling myself an astronaut, but two of the astronauts on board, one is a rocket scientist, one is an astrophysicist activist, we're actually doing experiments. But every time one of those goes up, you get some information that can be used for something else. So I wish people would do more due diligence. And then my question is, have y'all been to space? Have you been to space? Go to space or go to Blue Origin and see what.
Y'all just haters. Y'all haters out there. 'Cause y'all haven't been to space. I got $28 million to spare to go to space. Some kind of way. Yo, somebody in the comments said, I just got off a Southwest flight. I'm basically Amelia Earhart now.
They do and how they do, and then come back and say, this is a terrible thing. I've had so many girls and women and some guys who are saying, whoa, I saw what you did. I'm thinking maybe I should reconsider. Maybe I could do this too. The young girls in particular. But it's not just the young girls. We're also encouraging, I mean, the boys look at it and see what women and young girls can do. Yeah. So, I know there are cranky Yankees. I know there's some haters. But I'm not going to let people steal my joy and steal the joy of what we did or what we accomplished that day. I'm just not going to let it in. I'm not. And these are some of my friends that are just throwing shade.
Yeah, Gayle, don't let them steal your joy. They're just joy stealers. They're jealous of the fact that you went to space with this Blue Origin, and now you could say that you're one of the few people that have gone into another frontier and explored the cosmos. Or you could just say you was on a ride that went up that is questionable and has some shady things about it. Like the fact that the door on the spaceship was open prematurely. Did y'all see that?
What's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart?
And is that
See, the door opened up early, and it's supposed to be like sealed and shut, and like the force of space cannot get through it or penetrate it. The door opened early.
Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule? Kind of hard to see.
That is.
Here we go.
Here goes
Now
Jeff
Jeff
Bezos to
has to stage walking up to it and reopening it with a special tool.
open the hatch.
Open the hatch. It's like, all right. He just pushes it. I'm telling you, as someone who worked in Hollywood, that door opened very, very set-like. It seems like a set piece, if I had to guess. I guess we got to ask, what's that girl's name? Khloe Kardashian. We got to ask Khloe Kardashian and her mom. Right? Some of the audience members. It's a pretty thick door, but it opened very weird. This is interesting. Opening a commercial plane door versus opening the Blue Origin door. Pressurized, right? He had to do all that. He had to pull the handle, pull that up. Damn, that is a lot, of course. And look at the size of that door. That's just to go to a regular flight. A little slide, a little shingle they put in that capsule. Man, they would have all got vaporized or something. We would have had a whole different video, man. They opened that door up in space. Okay, and this is an example of what some of the other spaceships look like on return, the capsules. They might try to say that maybe that was re-entry that caused these to burn up, or maybe they have higher, a better grade of materials that they're making these capsules with, but that's a big difference right there. But when you want to hear a real conspiracy theory, you can go no other place than the handy dandy TikTok. Let's hear what the TikTok users are saying.
I've never seen a group of waste so much money in 11 minutes. This is the reason why we're the laughing stocks of the world right now. You know how much money they wasted that could have went to people that's starving, people that's homeless? They didn't even have on the right equipment to go into space.
That's true. Their uniforms look a little questionable. I'm not gonna lie.
They went to the edge of it and then turned back around. What a waste. This shit just looked fake to me.
If this were a group of men, would have been respected. Would have been clapping for them, calling them astronauts. Everybody who's complaining about this is a misogynist. Getting respect. This is a feminist revolution. That's for real what they're saying. Like in interviews, like that's for real something like they said. If men were doing this, they would have been applauded for being astronauts. I just have to say, you dumb.
How you gonna call them astronauts? They really just went to space and came back down. I mean, I think the requirements for astronaut are a lot higher. They're kind of disrespectful to the craft of being an astronaut.
You're not astronauts. Taking a 12-minute ride while sitting and doing absolutely nothing is not the qualifications
Or
needed
floating.
to call yourself an astronaut. It takes a minimum of 10 years of schooling and experience.
There you go.
10 years, including 2 specific years just in astronaut training at the NASA Johnson Space Center. Her, married to a wealthy asshole. Her, real astronaut. Her,
There you go.
pop singer, whose last album flopped, by the way. It's not because of ageism. It's because your lyrics suck and you do shit like this. I don't know, because there needs to be a case study on this. Taking a flower up into space, because that's your connection to Earth, while literally warming the Earth up to 500 times greater than an airplane.
Wow. Is that true? The global warming impact of just sending people willy-nilly to space just because they have the money to?
The emissions have a longer lasting impact than those from ground transport. Have the audacity to land after your 15-minute joyride and kiss the ground, kiss the earth like you give a fuck? Not a real astronaut. Never will be a real astronaut. Real astronaut. Real astronaut. Real astronaut. Real astronaut. They keep saying they're doing something like historical. You're not the first females to go up in space. You're the least qualified ones. Real astronaut.
Wow.
Real astronaut. Real astronaut. He is the most qualified, if anybody was wondering. But everyone else paid $28 million.
She was the chaperone.
Everyone here paid at least $28 million for their 15-minute joyride that is hurting the planet. They really think that is peak feminism. Peak women doing what they can.
I bet Oprah made that loan to Gayle. She was like, let me send you space.
Good for society, hitting milestone. None of you had a
I'm gonna need that 28 back though.
milestone. Not one of you. Besides being the least qualified people to take a joyride into space. Being the most rich, out of touch people maybe in existence, or being married to them. That's $168 million. Katy Perry, with that amount of money, could have housed 22,000 people. Since she lives in a county where 12.3% of public school students are experiencing homelessness, she could have eradicated that. She could have cured homelessness in her county almost 3 times over. They're like, what's the big to do? It's misogynistic. People don't not like them because they're women. People don't like them because they're acting like they did something important when they did the opposite. They wasted time. They wasted resources. If you don't believe me, tell me one thing society is going to benefit.
So what do y'all think? Do you think it was believable? Do you think this mission to space should garner some type of respect? I mean, you know, it's something that you all haven't done or may never in your life have an opportunity to do. But I'm wondering if this is as big a deal as they want it to be, you know? And it's just it was very cringy at times. And it was also, you know, people act weird when they're in a situation like that. This isn't the first time Blue Origin has gone up, and it's not the first time they've had commercial passengers. But the distinction here is that this is the first time it's an all-woman crew. So I don't know. Gayle King is 70 years old. You know, the oldest person I guess to go up in it was 90. But is this something you should be doing at 70 years old? You know, like, is that a thing? But it was an 11-minute flight. So it's very possible they did do it and came back to Earth and lived to tell the story. But it's very dangerous and, how do you say, unnecessary trip, I believe. But either way, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell notification for all uploads. If you want to watch more, please watch one of these videos down below. Make sure you sign up for Faucette Media, faucettemedia.com, Faucette Media Direct. The link is in the description. That's my streaming service. Link is in the description. This is Faucette Media.